Tyler.
Hey world.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Viewer Regression Advised.
Yep, we're two idiots, and we talk about things.
Yeah, we talk about everything, really.
Most of it.
And even though we don't know anything, today we're going to talk about books.
Are we?
Yeah, I think. Well, are we?
Sure.
I was fully.
I'm a wealth of information.
It's on my calendar. Oh, your wealth of information, much like a book.
Much like a book, I have many pages. Some of them
Wait,
are blank.
you gotta get that checked out, dude. You got pages? Where are those?
Oh, I hide those.
You got a lot of flaps and folds?
Yeah, I have a front cover and a back cover.
I haven't seen any of this.
Well, yeah, again, you gotta hide it. I gotta keep my secret.
That you're really a book?
That I'm actually a book.
No wonder you know so much.
Yeah, you didn't notice that I was just a book turned sideways with googly eyes on it? You didn't...
Oh my god.
You didn't catch that?
I just, the talking threw me off, but now I see it clearly. Because you described no way for you to talk. But it's clear to me now that you talk by opening as a book normally does.
Sure,
right along your spine.
Yep, right along the back of my head / spine. Well, this joke has gone on too long. How you been, Tyler? How's life?
I'm good. I'll say that. I'm very tired right now. I was woken up from a nap for this. A nap that was not over, and I got right into REM, man.
Oh yeah.
So it was like one of those oh.
Well, we wanted you fresh, obviously.
This is the least fresh you could possibly wake up from a nap.
Well, no, it's like when you pull a carrot out of the ground and it's just perfectly ripe, So that's like you right now. That's your brain.
You eat carrots as soon as you pull them out? Like that's when you're looking to eat a carrot? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm trying to say you're a fresh carrot.
Because, well, I wouldn't want a fresh carrot. I want a prepared carrot. Usually I want baby carrots that are shaved off, all that grossness on the outside.
The skin?
So yes.
Do carrots have skin?
Take my skin off is what I'm saying. With a nice cup of coffee, cup of Joe.
Good old cup of Joe.
You trashed coffee just moments ago.
I hate coffee.
I didn't want to let that go.
Ow. No, I hate coffee.
Ow? Mine came out minutes after you, and it's already cold.
Coffee, for some reason, is the hottest thing in the world. I think it's hotter than lava. I cannot drink coffee, and I don't understand why you would make a drink that is, boiling, and then go, great, now I have this drink, I'll wait 20 minutes before I can drink it.
I'm going to name a whole bunch of things that is much better 20 minutes after you make it.
Okay.
Mac and cheese.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one.
I started with that.
That is a haymaker out of the gate.
Tomato soup.
All right, that's the second one.
That's the whole and coffee and the exhaustive list. But come
okay,
on,
that's fair. That's fair.
Three really great things that you make a little bit too hot just so you can have it when it's just right.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. You've convinced me
that coffee is not that bad because you make it hot. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah. I will relinquish that.
All right.
I still hate it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm no carrot, though.
Now that I got that off my chest.
Right.
Dude, what's the last book you've read? And when was it? Leisure book. Leisure. How do you say that?
Leisure? Book of leisure?
Yeah.
Or leisurely read?
Yeah. I mean, even if it is a high-level book that it's I don't know, maybe it was a textbook that you were just
yeah.
I'm interested. What is this?
What is the differential equations? What are they?
You took the class and you went, shit, what happened? And
I said I didn't know. I don't know what this is.
I didn't learn that.
No.
I spent money on this. I spent a lot of money to learn this, and I don't remember any of it.
Nope.
No,
the last book that I read all the way through was Mere Christianity, actually. A book by C.S. Lewis, one of my favorite authors. And it's basically just... It's very logical, and it's very interesting because it's basically... He's writing the book like he's talking to someone who is basically like has no idea about anything.
Okay.
As in, like, I have no opinion on whether God exists. I have no opinion on this. That doesn't matter to me. And he starts and he's like, this is why it should matter. And then he goes, I'm not going to convince you that Christianity is good or like right. I'm going to convince you that God exists, and we'll start there.
Wow.
So he follows.
Oh wow!
he follows this like logic trail of like, okay, you could believe this or this, and like logically, I think if you believe this, then this would follow and this would follow, and he follows this whole path onto like. And this is why like the path of logic I followed and why I believe in God.
Could you?
Because he was an atheist for a while.
Oh, okay.
Like he was an atheist until like he was in his like 40s or 50s.
He follows this logic in this book. I should read it because you've recommended it to me.
It's very, very good.
But he follows this logic in this book to say that there is a God, and then he talks about the Christianity God, or does he follow his logic to the Christian God that like is commonly referred to in the Bible, like that God? Like he.
Well, yes,
because
he does both. Because the book is split into like 3 parts.
Okay.
So the first part is basically him just like this was all me getting to the point where I believe in God. That's sort of the first third of the book. The second third of the book is, okay, now that I have decided that I believe in God, what God do I believe in? Like what is right? And that whole second third of the book is just him following that path and getting to, I think Christianity is correct. And I think
that's an incredibly, because I'm very interested in both of those topics, especially like just philosophically, is there God?
Yeah.
And people arriving at those at different results with very reasonable
arguments.
lines of thinking.
Yeah, no, I
give it a shot.
It's really cool. Actually, there's a friend of we know, DC.
Yes.
We've had like multiple discussions in the past week of like this like abstract concept of like God, like not even religion at all, just like, do you think God exists and why? And like why don't you think God exists? And like, you know, back and forth, and it's really interesting. And honestly, I think just in these conversations, I've realized how much I've learned from that book specifically. It's a fun read too. He's a good writer.
Yeah. Well,
what about you?
The last book that I have read, I mean, I'm currently reading through a book. Oh, goodness. You know, I think it's good that I can't remember the author because he highly considered releasing it anonymously. And then he had conversations with his close friends and decided it's better to release it with his name. He wrote some other stuff, but he didn't want to add to his reputation and name by this book. It's titled Man Search for Meaning, and he wanted to release it under a pen name that is only the digits that are tattooed on his wrists because he is a Holocaust survivor.
Oh, wow.
And that would have been heavy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was his plan. And it's about like, it kind of details, I'm only in the very front of it, so I can't speak to a lot of it, but it details a lot of these hardships, but what he what he's hitting on the head is just man's willpower to live. And how amazing it is that like he's not looking at why some people died and why others, it's why anybody can survive something that awful.
Yeah.
And he finds that it's people find a why. And that's really what he's driving home. His
super
why,
interesting.
He finds it through I mean, this is not very surprising for someone who goes through something so tragic. Is like he derives that it's like the suffering that you do come across, and and he also submits to living for like absolutely submitting to someone else and not being like in like a slavery way, but in a like, I love you.
Yeah,
I
it's
live
it's
for
a willing
you.
submission.
And I mean, as a practicing Jew, he found that he's living for God.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to be a theme, but I didn't know that was going to be a theme of the book at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that was going to be a running theme of the books that we just read.
Yeah, that's really cool.
He had a really, really cool moment.
I thought you were going to say he had a really, really tough life, and I was like, yeah,
well,
he
yeah,
was
of
in
course
the
he had a
Holocaust.
tough life.
that happens sometimes.
Yeah, he was interviewed about the book, and this is all stuff that I read in like the preface and whatnot.
Yeah.
But he was interviewed about the book, and a lot of times they're like, "Oh yeah, what do you think? I mean, you sold so many copies, and it's all these renditions. What do you think gave it all this success?" And he went, "Well, first, I don't feel very successful seeing that millions of people are asking this question. It seems like there's a lot of sorrow out there, and I'm like, this man has got a lot of thinking that he's done.
That's just like an incredible amount of like, I think, wisdom behind that, or behind like just I think it'd be hard to go through something like that and not gain that perspective on life, or at least understand how little we understand about life. And like, you know, could you imagine going through something and then like trying to find a meaning?
He's and he's lived a full life after that.
Yeah.
After it, you know, like
yeah.
What do you do after that?
Yeah, I was just say that's it. That's like you've gone to hell and then you've come back into like this semi, real world.
Here's one other thing that I have read in the book. He had immigration papers to leave Austria.
Probably.
I think he was in Austria. He was ready to get out of the country. It was early-ish. Germany just took over Austria.
Okay, and it was like, this might get sketchy.
It's like, yeah, you guys... And so his parents got him all this documentation. They couldn't get it for some reason. And so he had a choice. He was like, what... Do I leave? Do I not?
Yeah.
Do I stay with my parents and do whatever? And he asked God. He started praying on it, and quickly, or not at some point, he just fixated on. I think it was in the moment he was asking God. I'd have to read it again, or you could read it. Left my phone on.
I can't believe you did. You were in the middle of I was enthralled with what you were saying in the
ding.
You ruined the flow.
Oh, I guess I can't talk about that.
So that sounds like a really interesting book.
I gotta finish.
No, finish.
And he just fixates on a piece of marble that is like a centerpiece.
Yeah.
In his parents' house, and he's like, "What is that?" And he asks his dad.
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, it's just a marble block. It's from the wreckage of a church, and it's somebody took it down, and he just went in after and grabbed it, and it has one like Hebrew like digit on it, and he said it was from one of the tablets of the commandments." He said, "Well, which number is that?" He said it was number, I forget what the number, but it was serve thy parents.
It's number 4. Nope, that's honor the Sabbath. It's number 5.
Honor your parents.
Honor your father and mother.
Honor your father and mother.
For your days will be prosperous, and you will live a long life, or something along those lines.
And so he got that message, and then chose to stay in the country, knowing to stay with his parents.
That's insane.
That is metal.
Yeah,
man.
That is hardcore.
That is a heart of steel. And it's unsurprising that without actually being murdered, that he could make it through something so difficult.
Yeah.
Because he looked it in the face and said, I'm going to go through this with my parents.
Because, you're in that place, and it's going to go, you don't know how bad it's going to get, but it's going to get bad.
It's going to get very bad.
Very,
and your
very
parents who love you a lot said,
Please leave.
I'm going to help you leave.
Please get out. Oh.
And you
Oh my
stayed
gosh.
for them.
That's insane. That is crazy.
So I've got to get through this because
What's that book called again?
Man's Search for Meaning.
I might have to look into that and start reading it. Because that sounds super interesting.
Well, you can check it out from Akron's library because that's where I got it. I've got so many freaking books, man.
You get a library card or something?
I got a library card years ago. And I started using it for like there's an app called Libby.
Okay.
And it's a very good resource for it allows you to connect to a library system to download like ebooks.
Yeah.
And so that was great. I finished a few interesting books through that, but I got an email from Akron Library that was like, "Hey, send us your interest, and we'll give you like 5 books to read." And I went, "That's cool."
Oh, that's
and
pretty
they
cool.
nailed it on the head with like all the themes and everything that
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of explore. The first book I tried to read wasn't that great, but it's like on theme.
Yeah.
It was just not that great.
Yeah. Sure.
But now they have given me 7 books and put like 3 more on hold for me. I'm like, I wanted 5.
Stop! I can't read
that fast. I don't.
Don't you listen to the podcast library? He didn't read as a kid.
I did. I did. And so it's that I don't read fast, and it's because I like these more involving topic
Like
kind of
dense books.
and
It's
so
heavy topics and yeah.
And so, but like I like to think I have a pretty active imagination, and
Sure.
so I'll be reading it and it'll inspire thought, and then I'll sit there looking at the pages and just think of stuff
Yeah.
for 10 minutes, and then it's 10 minutes later I'm still on page 3.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you're like
oh,
picturing the scene of like what's happened. That's what happened. Because like the first book series that I went through as a kid, I read all of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Chronicles of Narnia, which is what, by the way, why I like C.S. Lewis, because like I loved those books as a kid, and like
that's C.S. Lewis.
Yeah, he did those, and then he wrote Mere Christianity and a bunch of other like Christian books, and just like philosophy books and stuff. But yeah, like I get so enthralled because I love movies, and like I keep, whenever I read a scene in a book, I picture it, like I spend time to like picture it as a movie and like how that scene would play out, and it's very involved, and it's not good for like any kind of speed reading.
No. Which I took a class on that freshman year.
Did you really?
Yeah. It was like a half class. It was weird. It was through the university, but it wasn't for credit, and it took like half a semester.
Huh.
And I read a very interesting book. It's called Blink.
Blink 182?
No, not that. It was
spiders.
Spiders. Like Machine Gun Kelly sings, apparently.
Yeah, just weird.
But no, the title is. I think I still have it on my bookshelf, and it actually like infected the way I think about a lot of stuff that still today, 6 years later.
Uh-huh.
It's about snap decisions and how that they are so, in a lot of cases, they're just unbelievably more accurate than thought out decisions. Now, granted, when you're designing a
bridge or an airplane,
you don't want to make a snap judgment on it. But
in terms of people, I think it would be...
Yeah, it's these case studies about just some... not just some. Like, one of the greatest tennis coaches. He would have unbelievable accuracy at guessing whether or not the person serving, if they were up, like, if they would pull a 2015... Golden State Warriors against the Cavs and blow a 3-1 lead.
Uh-huh.
The equivalent to that in tennis.
Yeah.
He could guess it based on the person throwing their serve who is up, I don't know, 45 love, I guess it would be, and be 90% right.
Just because is it because like he sees like the body language and the
He couldn't explain it. He just, as soon as he threw it up, or the girl or whoever, the tennis player, threw their last serve that would have ended the round, he would call it.
He would go, nope, they're not going to get this point.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting because that is your brain doing work that you don't know it's doing.
Yes, and that's a lot of what it is. It's just like sometimes you've just got...
You just trust your gut.
You've got to decide because you've got these primal things. There's something that in our brain that got written over with language. Which language, books, we're still... Because I want to talk about how weird it is that we can...
We'll get there.
We're getting there. Because language is a part of our brain that got bigger over the few million years that we were walking, but not like agriculturing.
Yeah. It's the middle ground there.
I think. You know what? No, for sure.
100%.
There was
then
like
in that
there was a few
range.
million years where we were walking.
I remember that.
Well, I do know that because already there's a book that just came out. Can't think of the name of it. The author was just on Joe Rogan. Talked about Artie a lot.
Okay.
But it was like 5 million years ago, and we didn't start our agriculture until I think it's within the hundreds of thousands.
It's not. It's not it's relatively very short.
Stupid recent.
Yeah.
And so to think that for 5 million years we were walking like on our hind legs, we were hunter gatherers that fucking long. It's ridiculous. But we were over that time developing language, and we lost something that is really good at snap decisions. There's a scientist, I think it's somewhere in China, and they study they found this weird thing that primates are able to very, very, very quickly count in order.
Okay.
So in like a flash, they can show on a screen the digits 1 to 14, let's say. And in a fraction of a second, they can see it, get those numbers covered, but there's like boxes that they can hit, and they can hit it in order with surprising accuracy, which people can't do.
Yeah, no, I feel like, because I kind of know that snap judgment feeling of like when something just happens and you're like this, I don't know why, and then I think language, if that is like what replaced that, I guess that's like it's that second thought. Because the first thought is always like, that's why, the phrase "go with your gut" and you like trust your instincts.
You can't put it to words.
No, it is just you have a feeling, and then the second thought is always, well, that's not right. That doesn't make any sense. There's no logic behind that. It's your brain trying to put logic to the thing that you cannot logic in your brain.
Okay, good question for you.
Okay.
Does logic come with language?
Okay. What?
I don't know. Figure it out.
Does logic come with I think like things like scientific logic and reason, I think those would come with language, but I think there's a difference between like understanding the logic behind something, like why that's right, and just being right. So I think does that make any sense at all?
We are talking over a weight class here.
Well, hold on, no. There's a thought that I'm trying to get across here, and
and that's so weird that
and
you have something in your brain, and you have to compress it into words, and
it's literally a computer. You have to compress the file, and then you have to send the file. Then the file has to be decompressed in your own head.
I said this yesterday through wiggly air that you made because you moved your meaty lips,
your fleshy face,
that are really there to hold food from falling out while you're chewing it. Like,
yep,
it's
and you wiggle your throat in a specific way while you're exhaling.
It's wild. How? And then to think that you could put these words into shapes instead of wiggly air. That some other person can look at these shapes and decipher them into meaningful thought, which are books.
Someone literally has a thought that is just electrical impulses in their brain, and another person can have the same electrical impulses specifically just because they look at the same thing.
And you know what?
Oh boy.
You wasted. I'm talking about you.
Okay. Oh,
You
okay.
once wasted this beautiful gift that we have
Oh dear.
by using the internet to tweet the phrase butt cheeks, more like butt squeaks. This beautiful tool called language. You pulled it out of the whatever library, the infinite library that has everything ever written.
Yeah.
You chose the phrase out of it as the typing monkey that you are to say that not once, but to double down and say one more time for the people in the back. Butt cheeks, more like butt squeaks.
I stand by that.
I don't.
I'll die
think
on that
you should
hill.
have brought that into the world.
I thought that was so funny
I
typed it.
I don't think it's funny. I never thought it was funny, and I still don't.
I had that thought in my head. The brain went little zappy, and that came into my head, and I thought, I like that. Other people should see this. And I shared it with the world. And it's okay because Twitter is a cesspool anyway.
That not truer words have not been spoken, man.
Yeah. Like, honestly, that's probably one of the better things to come out of Twitter.
Because
I'm not saying it's good.
Hopefully it's just harmless.
Yeah.
Which makes it better than average.
Exactly. There you go. Thank you for bringing that up, by the way. I'm very proud of that. And for those of you who don't have Twitter, they didn't get to see that.
VRA Pod.
VRA Pod.
We are getting pretty active on it.
Yeah, we're doing things.
I tweet happy, nice things in the morning.
And I don't. I tweet things like butt cheeks, more like butt squeaks.
Not that great, but we'll move on. Well,
yeah. What's up, Tyler?
Do you have a library card? Have you ever had a library card?
Yeah. No, when I was a kid, my mom would always have us do the summer reading program at the library. Until I was in high school and I didn't want to do it anymore.
Because books are lame.
Books are lame, and I want to play video games. Gosh, Mom.
How am I supposed to reach level 40 in zombies if I'm reading books? Gosh.
Yeah. No, I have a library card, I think, somewhere. I have, if I have it, I haven't used it in 5 years. Like, I don't really go to the library a ton.
It's freaking free.
I know, but I don't know. I don't read that often either. I think I finished Mere Christianity this summer, I think, and it took me like a year to read it, just because it's pretty dense, but also I'm just slow reading because I just don't enjoy it as much.
For trying to get through a book in 2 weeks is actually kind of difficult for me.
Yeah.
The flip side, my girlfriend Yasmina, she reads so light. It's ridiculous how fast
she reads so fast that, like, when I show her like a meme or something, like I don't even think she read it. Yeah. I think she just, like, she glances and goes, "Oh, haha." Like, did you even read it? Like,
yep. No, she read it. She reads about 100 pages an hour.
That's insane.
She finishes series of books in an afternoon.
That's stupid.
That
is mind-boggling.
And every time I bring it up, she goes, "Well, it's like, it's like stupid books that don't really, like, have a lot to them. It's like romantic or weird vampire teenage books because she just likes reading.
Sure.
And she needs to."
She needs an outlet.
It's like
she's got to get.
She needs the age, and so she just finds these cheap online books, and they're short, and, like, she'll, like, skip through dialogue and or not skip through, like, descriptions or whatever. So, like, it's understandable that she reads even faster through these, but her base reading speed is ridiculously high. It's well over twice as fast as I can read if I'm concentrating and trying to read.
Yep. It's insane. My mom's the same way, by the way. I don't know if I told you that, but she's the same kind of like speed. Like, she really enjoys reading, and she'll read a book in a day pretty easily. Just like, I think I told my mom about a book, and I think it was like the next week. I was like, "Did you ever get that book?" And she's like, "Yeah, I finished it." I was like, "What? In like a week?" And she went, "No, I finished it in a day." Okay. But like, in that week. I was like, "What? How?" And I don't know. She does the same thing where it's like, it's not, I just like skip a little bit here and there and I skim, and I can't do that.
No, I'm like, what if I miss something?
Yeah, like what if I miss a key point of dialogue and I miss out on like a cool callback or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Speaking of books that we read, I just remembered.
I was about to say that's what we're doing the whole time, dude.
Well, I just want to, make sure we're on the same page. I don't want to jump out of here with a book and have you go, whoa, slow down. We're talking about language.
We're talking about books.
Talking about books. No, I literally, while we were talking just now, I remembered a book I read in high school, and I can't remember what it's called.
What's the name of it, though?
Something about tickets and time travel.
That's a great title.
Yeah, something about tickets and time travel. Yep, look that up. It's in quotations too, the whole thing, and bold, and underlined, and italics. So it's a book basically about these 3 people get chosen for a test of what may or may not be a time machine.
Double okay.
It's literally never discussed whether it's a time machine or not.
Okay.
They're like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But they put these people in this machine.
That sounds bad.
Because they got these tickets. The machine, somebody discovered this machine,
like
whatever.
Charlie and Chocolate Factory type of like they
literally did a raffle, and these 3 people had the tickets and they won.
No. Was there chocolate involved?
No, there was not chocolate, unfortunately. Okay. I know I'm probably lost a lot of the audience there for that. But I'll go on anyway. So these people, they go and they're taken into this laboratory, whatever, and they're all 3 like put under. And what it is they're sent back to one moment in time. The one thing they regret the most, or like their one biggest thing they like want to redo or relive or retry. And they all choose something. And it's really interesting because the whole book is like you kind of see through these people's lives, and they get to like redo something, right?
Okay.
And then they come back to the present time, the present day, and they get to like they see the difference between like what changed, what like that one event changed in their life, and they get to choose whether they want to stay in that reality or like wake up and be in this reality.
Interesting story.
And it's really cool.
So it was a time machine.
Yes and no.
Oh,
because at the end, one of the people who decides to like, no, my life is better here. Like I went back and fixed this thing, and like, I think I'd be happier in this life. They kill him. Like they just die. Like in this world, like they bring the other 2 back.
Didn't learn the moral of the story, bitch.
Yeah, they bring the other 2 back, and they're like, that it would have changed so much, and like, yeah, this one thing really hurt me in my past, but like because of it, like I have this child, and I love this child to death, and I would never get rid of him, and or like, yeah, I lost my job that one time, and it was really hard to lose that relationship, but like now I'm in this other relationship, and like, and this other person was just like, nah, I like this better. And when the other 2 came back, they're like, yeah, he wanted to stay, so he died in this world. And,
okay. No,
and he may or may not live in the other world, or maybe he just died because the whole thing was a dream. And they don't discuss it. Like, they don't talk about it. It's just like, maybe it was a dream, but maybe it's another world. We don't know.
What a read.
Yeah, it was actually really interesting. I enjoyed it. I think I read it in like 6th grade, maybe.
Time travel's always weird.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I don't know why that came to mind. It was kind of a fun book.
Well, I've been thinking about books.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I was thinking about, so there's a, you've heard of Fahrenheit 451.
Yes,
sure.
I almost tried to read it one time, and then it was super boring, so I decided not to.
Did you ever there's so many books out there that are like, oh yeah, that's a middle school English class read right there. You got To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yep.
Watched the movie, didn't read the book. You've got The Whisperer. What's the one where it's like all black and white and they don't have feelings, but one person knows like everything, all the pain and the good things, and they have to pass it down to the next person?
I have no idea.
I think it's called The Whisperer.
The Giver?
The Giver.
The Giver, because they made a movie out of it
and I watched the movie, didn't read the book.
I heard the movie was really bad.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I thought the book, I mean, I thought the movie was fine, mostly because I didn't read the book. Mm-hmm. Wait, how do you fall on that? On
movie versus book?
Yeah.
Okay, that's up in the air because I understand the whole book thing, but it's never been my thing.
It's literally only because if I sit down, I know I'm gonna get the whole story in 2 hours.
Yes.
I know I'm gonna have everything, like,
yeah.
I'm gonna know what the book said in 2 hours if I sit down and watch this movie. That's why I prefer movies. Is because if I sit down with the book for 2 hours, I might still be on chapter 2.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think I'm less stringent. I think with my time. So like, if a movie is longer than 2 hours, it doesn't bother me that much. You know, I can watch TV shows, whereas you generally don't.
Nope.
Not a binge watcher.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, you're very particular with the way you spend your time, which is cool. But like, that's just, I'm not as particular like that. So like, Lord of the Rings, watching all the Lord of the Rings movies doesn't bother me. I enjoy it, but like, you could never do that.
No.
So I can probably flip flop more than you on like book versus movie. Like the Hobbit movies, I don't think are very good, and I really like the Hobbit, like the book. So I would say that one. Probably I would prefer the book, but like Lord of the Rings movies versus the books, to be fair, I haven't read all of them, but
that's a little bit surprising, but it's a long fucking book.
They're so long, and
I don't want to read entertainment though. Usually when I read, I'm like, I want to learn.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I can't. I will read philosophy and like existentialism and, you know, Christianity and religion.
So interesting.
What is the meaning of life? I'll read about that all day.
Yeah. I wouldn't watch a movie about that.
Nope.
Not a fucking chance.
No.
It'd be so boring.
That'd be rough. I feel like that's just everything Neil deGrasse Tyson does. It's like, why are we here? It's like, I don't care. Shut up.
My penis.
What?
Somebody did a supercut of Neil deGrasse Tyson going, the largest thing that the entire universe has ever seen, my penis. And he goes on for 5 minutes about his penis. It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
You gotta see it. Oh, it's so good.
Is it cut together, or is he actually saying that?
It's cut together. It's so important, so massive,
so
you couldn't
important.
My
wow. You know, I'm not a big Neil deGrasse Tyson fan, so like.
Yaspina went to see him in like a show. He puts on shows. She has a
live show.
Yeah, I don't know. He just talked.
Was it like a comedy show
or
like
Medina's Science Club had a shirt with his face on it. She still has the shirt. No, that's where most of the cut is from.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't watch his show on Joe Rogan though. What's that? What's Joe Rogan?
You know, actually, now that I think about it, I don't know what that is.
Why do we keep talking about it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's not a thing.
No.
So anyway.
But I mentioned 451, Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
There is a book, there's a version of that book that tells the whole story of the book, like the moral of it, without you being able to read any of it. It's actually all black. Like, it's inked out.
Oh, that's super cool.
And it's heat sensitive. So if you like hold a lighter to it, and that's presumably not light the book on fire.
Right, you want them to do that.
But if you do that, it'll reveal the words.
So you can only read it if it's on fire.
Yeah.
That's super cool. That is
you
so
understand
cool.
the whole book without reading a single thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you also can't read it. I mean, you could, like, I don't know, go in a sauna and read it. I guess.
Yeah, or just like go really. I mean, that might actually be nice for someone like some people like us, because we're just gonna go that slow anyway. Because you gotta wait for it to be visible, and then
I probably wouldn't use an open flame. I'd probably like figure something else out,
like
or
a space heater. You just hold it in front of a space heater.
I could also just get the regular.
Or you know what else? You could just watch the movie.
I could watch the movie.
I've heard it's not good.
I'll probably watch the movie before I ever read that book.
Okay, so my 7th grade English teacher was a big fan of Ray Bradbury. Actually it is. I can't believe I got that right first time.
Snap judgment.
Yep. Yeah. No, my 7th grade English teacher was a big fan of Ray Bradbury, and I was like, oh, like, you know, she kind of told me about that book, and I was like, that's really cool. Do you mind if I read it? And she went, of course, because she had the book.
Oh, okay.
And I read probably a chapter or two, and I went, this is super boring. So I didn't read it, and I gave it back to her, and I was like, yeah, it was good. Yeah.
What do you think about book burning, man?
Love it. I'm in full support of book burning. I don't think that people should read anymore. I think there's a philosopher that once said, people will get dumber because all the information will be known, and everybody will get bored, and no one will know it. You know?
Well,
I think you said that. You
I
told me about that guy from the 20s.
Yeah, the dude who was...
I'm just kidding. I don't like book burning. But
No, it seems so counterintuitive. Like, even if you are the bad guy, man, what? Like, why is that a thing?
What, book burning?
Book burning in it as a phrase. Controlling knowledge by destroying information. Why?
I think it's just a really easy way to do it, because I mean, think what Hitler did with the Nazis.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Like, he managed to keep so much control, and he didn't have to do anything. He literally just riled people up, and he was like, "These books are evil," and they all went, "Yeah," and they're like, he's like, "You want to set them on fire?" And they all went, "We like fire." And then he wrote a book. And you know what? It was bad.
It was not a good book.
But you know what? I wouldn't burn it. I'd show it to people and say, "Hey, that's bad."
He made it I don't know if he made it mandatory, but it was like a wedding gift, and so like everyone had their wedding version of Mein Kampf. They had their graduation version of Mein Kampf.
It was like a weird,
Everybody
almost
had
like religious thing.
Yeah. What do you... Oh my goodness. Why do... That's so... controlling information, man. It's weird.
Information
Because
genuinely is like
that's
power.
That's what dictators did. They would write their book and tell everyone to not read other books.
Because if you're not getting them to, like, if people don't think, they don't question. Like, if they don't learn to think, they don't, learn to question anything. And then if they, because, like, obviously if you question, like, the fact that, oh, maybe, like, we shouldn't be Nazis, at that point, I would say you're probably not a Nazi, which is a good thing. Keep doing that. Keep that up.
I don't know, like, if you can't... It boggles my mind that any person with the ability to reason would follow through on such evil ideologies like Nazism, racism.
I agree. However, like, we have the benefit of hindsight currently, and we have the benefit of having, like, grown up and being taught, like, an incredible amount of, like, I've been in, like, you and I have both, I'm finishing it up, but been in school for 17 years. Like,
yeah.
most people, you know, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, like if you didn't live by a school, you're just like, cool, you're not going to go to school.
Right, learn how to farm, bud.
Yep, and you know what? Germany was in a really bad spot, and nobody like was like being educated because they had to like, you know, get food to survive because their economy was tanking. And
how do we always talk about the world? This
I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. We know about it.
But like we're like you ever play that Wikipedia game? It's like 3 degrees of Hitler or something.
Yeah. It's
you
how fast
start with like Beanie Babies, and then you go to like Hasbro, and then you learn that it was producing weapons during World War II, and then you're at Hitler.
Yeah. You just find the links in the Wikipedia articles, and you try to get from Texas Toast to Hitler.
And it happens real quick.
It's very easy to get to Hitler. Wow, I feel like that's like a reflection of society, you know, just like so super easy to get to Hitler. I mean,
it just affected the whole world, man. I don't think it's a reflection of society. I think it's a reflection of how freaking impactful that was.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
and then to think, wait, didn't Japan that was the one that Japan got nuked, right?
World War II?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
right at the end.
Yeah. And then I think it's so silly that I shouldn't say silly.
When you're talking about nuclear bombs.
A country recovering from two nuclear bombs.
The only country ever to have been
that is
fired upon with a nuclear weapon.
America, man. I don't know. Sometimes
there's a lot of debate over that, I think.
But Japan decided to model their rebuilt country because they're coming out of the like super honorable, long-lasting, traditional, very proud people.
Yeah.
And they decided that we're gonna try this again, and they chose Germany to remodel after.
Well, no, actually, do you know what they did?
Well, you know what? I think you're gonna tell me.
I don't know if I've said this before, but what they did, like after they were trying to like rebuild, like the leaders of Japan went, all right, so we have to like really be on the forefront of everything right now if we want to catch up, because they just sent us back to the Stone Age, essentially. So they're like, okay, who's best at making cars? America. All right, we're gonna pay for like you 10 people, go over to America and learn everything they have to teach you about making cars. And they're like, okay, who's good at
now they have Toyota.
Yeah, and who's good at like establishing a good economy?
Right, that's Japanese, right?
Yes. Yep. Like who's really good at like having an established economy? Maybe, well, I guess maybe not Germany at the time, but like that's what they did. They just found like, okay, we need to have a better infrastructure, like highway system. Who has a really good highway system? Let's go there and learn how they did it and bring it back. And they just did that. They sent people all over the world, and they brought it all back, and they just put it together.
You know what?
And they said, we did this.
I think more countries need to be hit with a nuke. It's a nice reset button. America should just get into a nuclear war with North Korea. I shouldn't be saying these things.
You know what, Tyler? I'm gonna take a hard stance and disagree with you.
Okay, but let's say we do.
Okay, for the sake of argument.
Both countries get a reset button. And they have to actually rebuild.
Because
I think that we got a soft reset with this whole pandemic. It's too easy. We're gonna try and build back better, Biden. Let me tell you, buddy.
Let me tell you, bucko.
Hit the big reset button. Hit the big boom on another country, and then we'll get some coming back, and then we'll be like Japan in like 60 years, where we all like anime, K-pop, and
a giant lizard.
And giant lizards. I don't know what you're talking about there, but that's probably Pokemon. Godzilla. Okay.
Come on, man. That came from Japan. That was their whole thing. Like that's like the reason Godzilla exists.
But in you know, in 60 years we'll be at the forefront of everything culturally. Because we're only a world superpower now. Like,
right.
We could do so much better.
Okay. So I get that there was some
the only way we could do that is
through nuclear war.
A nuclear war. Yes.
Okay, so I know you're being a touch facetious here.
Maybe
a little bit. However, I can see the logical argument you're making. However, I'm going to argue against that logical argument and pretend like you're not being facetious.
Okay.
For just a moment.
All right. So what do you propose then?
I propose that could never happen again. Nothing like Japan could ever happen again, where they were devastated by a nuclear weapon and they bounced back so incredibly well. I think because in the last 70 years, we have come so far in terms of globalization and interconnectivity.
Okay.
The only reason we haven't gone to war with China in the last 20 years is because both countries would fail, because our economies are so interconnected. I think China's at the point now where they don't really need us anymore, which is scary.
Well, yeah, that's the whole trade war that's going.
Right.
Interesting.
But that's at when you reach the point of world superpower, China, USA, Russia, I was going to list European countries, but also I don't really know many.
Well, it's essentially their GDP becomes a superpower when they are the EU. It is so the difference is so crazy. To think that these old, long-lasting countries that were imperial. They had they were imperial. They had empires. They freaking colonized the entire world.
Yeah,
and now not so much.
Now
China's weird. China's a weird one.
Greece sprouted Alexander the Great, and now they're not really anything.
They have gyros. They have pretty good gyros.
I think they're pronounced euros.
Why would I eat money? Stupid.
Oh no.
Gosh. But books, man.
Books. Yeah.
What did Orwell say? Because I wanted to talk a little bit on that. Orwell, was he an author? What did he write?
Orson Welles?
No,
or George Orwell.
George Orwell.
Okay. I don't know.
I just know when people call stuff Orwellian, it's about controlling. It's like book burning.
Yeah, no, I know he was
schools of thought.
He was
controlling information.
He was kind of like a future predictionist kind of thing.
Yeah, but did he write books? Should I read Orwell?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, because he wrote fiction books about obviously. He wrote he wrote fictional stories about dystopian places, and the themes were generally it was dystopian because the powers that be would control
everything,
information.
Yeah.
And then we talked momentarily about the mysterious one, that guy that wasn't as popular, but he wrote fictitious books that he essentially thought would be not controlled by a lack of information, but in the future we would share so much excess that we can find whatever we want and be so involved in our distractions that we didn't fully think things out anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think we're a lot closer to that future.
Oh, 100%. At this point, I think he's right. I think we're there. I think Twitter is a good example of that. It's apathy is what it is. It's, being comfortable and then getting lazy. It's we have all this information. It's the idea of hey, I don't know how to change a tire, but I can just learn it whenever. So I don't need to learn it right now. I'll just learn it later. And then you're stuck on the side of the road and you have a flat tire and you're like, man, I really wish I would have learned it when I had the chance.
First time I replaced a tire, didn't put it in I didn't throw on my parking brake, and so it rolled off the jack. It was the scariest shit I've ever done.
Dude, are you did it fall on? Like what?
No, it just like rolled a little bit, and then like something caught, and I went oh, and then I got in the car and pulled it. No one got hurt.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah,
that is sketchy.
It was a G6. It was fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those things weigh like 3 pounds and they go real fast. I was 16. That was a bad car for me to have. Do you know how many times I hit 100 in that?
You know, I've never
literally every day.
I don't think I've ever driven over 100 miles an hour.
It was actually an everyday occurrence for me on a highway, and I got like 3 tickets total.
See,
that was bad.
That's rough. I think my first car was a '97 Dodge Neon, and it was the same kind of like little tiny car.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I was going, if the car went 80 miles an hour, if I could get it that fast, it felt like I was going like 120. And the car would kind of go, so, there's a point where the muffler fell off, so it sounded loud. And it was super light, so like I could like take corners kind of fast. I ran that thing like a race car so many times, and then I ran it until it broke and we scrapped it.
We ought to talk about cars sometime soon.
Oh, we will for sure. That's definitely
be a good episode.
I've been thinking about that for a while.
So many stories of driving, man. I was a 16-year-old boy at one point.
I don't think I have that many crazy driving stories. I was always just terrified to get in trouble, so I just didn't do anything fun in high school.
I want to tell you I want to tell the stories on that episode, but I'm going to tell you one of the stories immediately after this.
Sure. I look forward to it.
That's not everything about books, is it?
Let's see. We ran through C.S. Lewis. We ran through what we're reading. Do you want to talk about comic books at all?
I'll ask you what your favorite book is.
Favorite comic book?
Favorite book.
Oh, book in general. Oh boy, I don't read many books. I genuinely don't remember like any of the books I've read now. Okay, you go first, then I'll think. Yeah.
My favorite book might have to be Dracula by Bram Stoker.
Ooh.
The way that it's written, I freaking love it. And if you haven't read it, it's amazing. It's a journal.
Uh-huh.
It's John Harker's journal, one of the main characters.
Yeah.
And he just talks about, hey, yeah, this guy's acting really weird, and it's kind of scary. I'm living with him now. What's going on?
What's up with that?
And then you eventually get other characters' journals, and then you get to the point in the journals that it's like the book that you're reading is actually a collection of all their journals that they put together. That they were trying to share information. They were like, here's all of my experiences with it. And they all read each other's experiences so that they could come together and make a plan to take down Dracula.
That's
like you're
insane.
reading the book that they put together.
That's so cool.
It was very cool. I love that book so much.
That's really cool. I might have to read that. That sounds very interesting.
And then I skipped one of the chapters because it just wasn't good. If you get to the chapter, I think it's like 23, where somebody's on a boat, just nothing happens.
Oh, that sucks.
It was fine. I just went, this is boring. I went to the next.
Skip. See, that's cool about movies too. You can just fast forward through scenes.
Have you thought of your favorite book?
Oh gosh, no. I really like The Hobbit. I think
so. I guess then obviously the best book of all time, Dracula, Bram Stoker.
I think you're right. I think that. Well, hold on. Let me think.
Or if you
out of all of them, like 1, 2, 3. Actually, you know what? I'm very religious as a person, so I would say the Bible. Boom, everybody. Boom.
Best book of all time, the Bible.
Actually though, can I just talk about this for a second? Because we haven't talked about the Bible at all. There are a few books in the Bible, because the Bible is a collection of books,
yes,
right? There are a few books in the Bible that like are my absolute favorite, and that I like more than I think are more entertaining than a lot of the like books I've just read.
Okay.
One specifically is a book. It was written by King Solomon like way back, who was like supposedly the wisest and richest king ever, and like in Israel.
Sure.
The third king of Israel, son of King David. And the story goes that God asked him, you're going to be king. I will give you wealth. I will give you land. I will give you like victory in battle. Like, what do you want? Ask me one thing and I'll give it to you. And he said, I want wisdom. And God said, okay, because you've asked for wisdom, I will give you wisdom and all these other things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like a lot of what he wrote was just about wisdom. So he wrote the Proverbs, which is just 32 chapters of just phrases of wisdom. And it's just like, 2 lines, 2 sentences of like,
all
hey,
right,
if this happens, this happens.
Guy. Sorry.
Yeah.
But like that...
It's pretty interesting. And there's one book that I like by him, and it was like the last book he wrote, because he wrote it really, really old. He was really old. He was like dying. And he wrote this book, and it's called Ecclesiastes. And the whole book, it's 6 or 9 chapters or something like that.
Okay.
It's not super long, but the whole book is about him just talking about his life and all the things he did. And I built houses, I built temples, I planted gardens and forests, and I conquered cities, and I won wars and battles, and I did all these things. Like I married 900 women, and like I had all the gold in the world. And he's basically just, and after every single thing he says, he's like, and it was meaningless. Doesn't mean anything. Jeez. It's just gonna pass away. And he's like, and I had these kids, but like, I'm gonna die, and then my kids are gonna die, and then my kids' kids are gonna die, and then people are gonna forget who I am.
I love it.
It's that's the whole book, and it ends with, nothing, none of this really matters, but the one thing that is constant that actually matters is God, and like, that's the one thing that our life matters. Like, it's basically, it is why are we here? It's the book is about why we exist.
The Bible is actually an amazing book. Like,
regardless of your stance on like religion and stuff,
don't start in Genesis.
No.
It's so difficult to get through. I'm still trying.
Honestly, I think a lot of the reason more people don't read the Bible is because they don't know how. Because it is like, if you try to read it chronologically,
cover to cover, not chronologically, because that's not chronological.
You're right. Cover to cover, it's a hard thing to do.
But there's always something in there for anybody.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's caused a lot of good things, like an unbelievable. I mean, if you are a devout Christian, you probably think like the greatest things. But like,
yeah.
But it's also caused, quite literally in history, a lot of bad things to happen, with a lot of people being misled by being a human.
Yeah.
To take this book and think there's some kind of divine right that they have over others, and then you've got conquistadors and other such things.
The Spanish Inquisition. You never expect that one.
Oh, wow. I didn't think you were going to bring that up.
No one ever does.
But
no, it's wild.
And then you ever hear about like that being the most stolen book of all time?
Yeah.
I think isn't that isn't that skewed from like who are the people that Gideons?
Yeah.
The Gideons literally leaving it there for people to steal it.
They leave them in hotel rooms, like specifically to like, hey, take this if you want it. So I mean,
that's where one of my Bibles are from. Placed by the Gideons. Huh. That's right. I stole a Bible.
What of it?
Huh. That's
hey, dude. This is gonna go out like publicly.
Yeah, I said it. Dude, I talked about nuking him. I think stealing a Bible is a little bit lower than totem pole.
You know what? That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's literally everything about books.
Okay, yep. That can confirm that is everything about books. Yep.
Whew. We are going to, in some VRA news.
Yes, everybody get excited.
We're going to have a guest on.
That's right. Chris from To Whom It Should Concern. Sorry, I had to think of it for a second.
Another podcast.
Yep. A political podcast.
Talked about them before. Talked about him in our politics episode.
Yes, sir.
Chris, he knows a lot about... I hope he doesn't listen to this before we...
Yeah, I'm hoping that he's going in blind.
Chris knows so much stuff about hair. Did you know that?
What?
He knows everything about hair.
Hair.
Yeah. Like what mammals have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah?
We should ask him about it.
I think... Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, if people want to hear him talk about politics, he's got his own show for that. But I just know that he knows a lot about hair. Maybe more than me.
That doesn't seem right.
We'd have to.
It's coming from a guy with a mullet. I think. I don't know if that's
I've
right.
explored a lot about hair.
Yeah, yeah. You are you're an adventurer in terms of hair. He is nothing but a scholar.
Seeking to push the boundaries of what it means to be haired.
Hairy. Okay, I think we should end it there. Thanks for listening, everybody. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Viewer Regression Advised, or VRA Pod. Hit us up with an email. We've gotten a couple emails now for requests.
Oh yeah,
and we really appreciate it.
One of those requests will be satisfied in an episode. We might talk to Chris about that topic.
I think it'd be interesting at least. Maybe just to bring it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
that'll be its own episode though. Yeah, for sure.
We appreciate all the feedback and the comments and the, thanks, Dad, for saying you like it.
Thanks for listening, Dad.
Yeah.
Anybody that is a dad listen to this.
Yeah.
Good job.
What? If you're a dad and you're listening to this.
How many points?
15.
You know what?
Maybe 20.
Maybe 15 points just for being a dad.
Yep.
If you had any points previously, get a multiplier on that.
Yep. Times 2.
Double it.
Wow.
Way to go.
Yeah. I've been William.
I've been Tyler.
We don't know anything.
And now so do you. Dude, I gotta pee. I don't gotta tell them.
Let's get out of here.